In this video, we are going to take a look at Brooklyn Nets' potential starting lineup in the upcoming season, and why 2022 is a championship or bust year for them. At point guard, we got James Harden. Harden played just 36 games for the Nets last season, and well, we saw the Harden that we expected. He averaged 24.6 points, 8.5 rebounds, and almost 11 assists. He shot 46% from the field and 36% from the three-point line. He shot an average of 7 free throw attempts per game, pretty low for his standards, but he's still one of the best in the league with 86% accuracy. Compared to what he had to do in his time in Houston, Harden is no longer required to carry his team on his back. Harden proved that he can fit into the Nets' lineup easily. He has been attacking off the dribble and taking anything the defense throws at him. Whether we like to admit it or not, he's one of the most talented players we've ever seen, especially when talking about ISO. The question around Harden joining the Nets was whether he would be ready to sacrifice his own offense after being the go-to guy almost his entire career. However, he has already gone above and beyond for any of his Houston co-stars. It's difficult to tell what changed for Harden from the outside, but it's evident that the transition was the best thing that could have happened to him. At shooting guard, we got Kyrie Irving. While being a mesmerizing basketball talent, Irving is the NBA's foremost mystery. A lot of questions have been raised like, can Kyrie just focus on basketball? Can Kyrie be mature enough to team up with Harden and KD and try to win the title? Despite these controversies and off-court drama, Kyrie discovered his own truth through racial justice work, which made him the fulcrum of a team that's vying for the NBA title. His game is a spectacular display of speed, timing, angles, and elite dribbling that defies the laws of physics. Last season, the 7-time NBA All-Star became the 9th player to join the illustrious 50-40-90 club, which includes players who have shot at least 50% from the field, 40% from three-point range, and 90% from the free throw line over the course of an entire season. Now let's talk about the Harden-Kyrie combo. It's almost as if Harden, KD, and Kyrie struck a deal before coming together. Despite playing in a big three, Harden would still have the opportunity to dominate the ball, but that privilege would come with the responsibility of setting everyone else up. Within the Nets offense, there are times when it appears as if the other two are in their own worlds. They'll jack up numbers for a couple of minutes, and when one of them gets hot, Harden will reclaim the rock and get the ball flowing again. Irving hit 50.6% from the field and averaged 26.9 points per game last season. Irving is probably the team's third best offensive player, making this a very dangerous offensive lineup. At the small forward position, we have Joe Harris. Many would remember Harris's 2021 campaign as being the guy who missed critical open shots in the postseason. But let's not forget that he provided the Nets with a good amount of floor spacing, and he actually led the league in three-point field goal percentage with a ridiculous 47.5%. After the Brooklyn-Milwaukee series, Harris stated that this will serve as a motivator for him throughout the offseason. After the game, Harris expressed disappointment to the reporters, saying, "I wish I had played better. I wish I would have shot more efficiently, help alleviate some of the pressure that other guys were facing." When you have three guys like Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving who are at their best when they have the ball in their hands and are skilled at collapsing defenses, a knockdown shooter like Harris is essential to keeping the opponent busy at all times. Despite his underwhelming 2021 postseason performance, let's not forget that Harris is a good shooter. Really, really good. And he's important. More important to this team than he gets credit for. At power forward, we have Kevin Durant. KD was on pace to win the MVP award when the season began. He averaged 26.9 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 5.6 assists in 35 games towards the end of the season. With Durant leading the way, the Nets may have defeated the Philadelphia 76ers to capture the #1 seed if he had played the entire season. Durant can be considered the best player in the league, that's if he's healthy. In the 2021 NBA playoffs, KD left memorable moments and unquestionable numbers. During their last game, a 115-111 Game 7 loss to the Bucks, Durant's final points of the season came with 1 second left on a 23-foot turnaround jumper. It would have been a series-clinching three-pointer if Durant's toes had fallen a few inches further back after the spin. It gave Durant 48 points, the most in a Game 7 in NBA history. He finished the playoffs averaging 34.3 points while shooting 51.4% overall and 40.2% from three-point range and averaging 9.3 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.6 blocks, and 1.5 steals. Now, Durant has a chance to rewrite his legacy by leading a team to the NBA Finals. At the center position, we have Nicholas Claxton. Despite Blake Griffin remaining with the team and LaMarcus Aldridge and Paul Millsap signing with them, Claxton did enough to get a starting role for the Nets. In his second season, Claxton averaged 6.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. While that may not seem like a lot of production from the former Georgia star, his per 36-minute statistics demonstrate that if given enough playing time, he is capable of averaging a double-double. Claxton is on the verge of becoming a force on offense that other teams will have to plan around. Even in his current state, he is a top athlete capable of absolutely destroying the rim when given the opportunity. Claxton has a lot of value as a small center or a big power forward. On the defensive end, it's not exaggerating to say that Claxton is one of the top defensive players in the game. When he was on the floor, the Nets allowed 11.2 points less per 100 possessions, putting him in the 98th percentile among all big men. With his quickness and athleticism, and also his out-of-this-world wingspan, Claxton's defensive breakout has plenty of potentials. That said, Claxton won't average 30 minutes per game, as he will likely split time with LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul Millsap, and even Blake Griffin. Now let's take a quick look at their bench. We got Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry, Bruce Brown, Paul Millsap, James Johnson, Sekou Doumbouya, Blake Griffin, and LaMarcus Aldridge. I think everyone would agree when I say the Nets have a very deep bench. Now, the big question, championship or bust? Listen, 2 of the 5 starters had previously won scoring titles or been named MVPs. The shooting guard is a former NBA champion, while the small forward has won the three-point shootout. Then we'll take a look at the bench. 3 previous All-Stars are on the bench. This lineup is insanely talented from top to bottom. The Nets franchise has never won an NBA championship. The last championship that was won by the franchise was when the team was a member of the ABA. That was in 1976. That's almost half a century. After all, this is what KD, Harden, and Kyrie wanted. Durant wants to prove he can lead a franchise to a title with him as the main man. Kyrie tried to win without LeBron by his side, but was run out of Boston in the process. As for Harden, the clock is ticking on his chances. He's 32 years old. He has not played in the NBA Finals for the Rockets despite having him partnered with Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook on different occasions. And no question, this is the best surrounding cast he's ever had. The Big Three are all aware of the stakes. There are legacies at stake. A trip to the NBA Finals will not be enough. When it comes to this team's 2022 season, it's either title or bust.